Hello, and welcome to WinAutomation Tutorials. I'm Tyler. This video will be going over stock data extraction. There are many reasons to use WinAutomation, and stock data is one of them. Whether you're data mining or just keeping an eye on the market, WinAutomation has some actions that can help. Things like scheduling your scraping process, looping through stock pages, and web page screenshots will all be covered in this video. Knowing how to schedule and extract large data sets like stock data can help any RPA developer. So let's get started. Okay, before we start building our process, every good RPA designer needs to have a goal in mind when they're building their process. So my goal with this investing.com website is to extract all the data from this table. This table is the New York Stock Exchange top 100 companies. I want to get the high, low, change, volume, even this web URL, because my intention is to loop through this table and get more granular data on each company inside of this table. Maybe even take a picture of the next web page for each of these companies and schedule it out. So now that I have a goal established, I want to start building the process. So we're gonna come over to the WinAutomation console and click Control N, which will open up the new process window. I'm gonna call my new process Get Stock Data. And we're gonna click on the web recorder. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna ask me to specify a window. I'm going to specify the New York Stock Exchange window. I'm gonna click this little button real quick, move this over here. I'm just gonna delete that element that I just clicked on. So what I really wanna do now that I have the actions recorder open is I want to start grabbing the elements in this list. So I'm gonna come to the name column and right click and extract the title of this element. And then I'm gonna come down to this other one, right below it, same column, and extract the title right here. And as you can see, since it's all in a column and it's inside of a parent element, which is a table, these can all be easily extracted out. So we'll just move on to the next column. Extract that as text. Extract the high as text. We're going to extract all these columns as text until we get to the last column that I want to extract from this table, which is the href, which is the link of the first column, which you'll see in a sec. So now that we've extracted all this out, I'm going to come back to this first column, and you can see that there's an A bounding box, and that A means that it's an anchor. And you can come down here to extract that element's value. You'll notice that there's not just like text title or exists, there's an href, which means it has a URL attached to it, and I'm going to extract that as well. So now that we've extracted all the useful information from our table, we can come look at it right here. So this is an extracted data preview, and it stores all of the data that we just extracted. And you would think that since this is the New York Stock Exchange top 100, that there'd be 100 companies here. But as I would have been making this tutorial, there's actually like only 83 or 84 here, which is kind of funny. So now that we've got that preview, I think we've done all we need to do on this page, and we'll just click finish. So I'll just delete the region that's auto-generated. I just don't really find it very useful. We're going to get the window. We're gonna just call it, automation window. And that's good. And we're getting the window so we can just resize it real quick. I don't like when my window opens up minimized or like in a very, very awkward region. So I'm just gonna open it up maximized. And what you can see here, we've already built a process that opens up, it launches Chrome, navigates to a window, resizes the window, and then extracts some data and then puts that inside of an Excel spreadsheet. So before I demo the process real quick, I want to set up a little bit more. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting the first and last column of that Excel instance, which I don't want to call it Excel instance. I want to call it stock data. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but I'm going to call it stock data for relevancy's sake. And we're going to extract the first and last column. And I'm going to set up a variable because this variable is going to be very important for looping through values. And we're going to just call that increment. If I ever spell anything wrong, please call me out on it. I do suck at spelling, but I do believe that's how you spell increment, but I could be wrong. So we are going to set up that variable, which is called increment. It's set up as a number, which is 1, because we're going to be using it for a loop process. I might as well get the loop set up, and we'll just call it while increment is less than or equal to, oh, actually it needs to be the other way, is less than or equal to the first free row. Yeah, first free row. So what I did right here grabs the dimensions of the row, the data that I collected on the extraction data from web page. So essentially it grabs the dimensionality of the Excel spreadsheet. So essentially how many columns it is deep and how many rows it is deep, it'll count that for you. So that's really important when you're trying to loop through how many rows there are inside of a data set. So essentially that's why I'm setting up this loop condition to look at the increment. We're not going to be using this just yet, but I'm just setting it up for later. And so now that we have this set up, we're going to get a cell. So we need to read a location from this stock data. So what we're going to be grabbing is that URL that we stored, so this stock URL, and I'm going to just go to the 9th column, which is where I stored the URLs, and I'm going to go to wherever the increment is, and we're going to get that. We're going to get that and store it as a stock web page. And I think we're almost to where we can preview this. I wonder if I could just comment these out. Yeah, disable. So, because we're going to get to that in a sec. And the last thing that we're going to want to do before we demo it real quick, just to check that everything's safe, is we're going to set this up to go to, so we're going to be using the same browser that we opened up here, and we're going to navigate to a new URL, which is the stock web page URL that I just established from the data set that we just pulled from. So now I'm going to be able to run this, and it's going to open up a new browser. It's going to open up investing.com. It's going to make it big. It's going to extract all that data to an Excel, which it just did. And then it should go to a new website. And if we're lucky, it went to a new website. Cool, we were lucky, it went to a new website. So it worked. So it did the very, very first company in the list. So if we go back to the list, it opened it up 3M, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. And then we're gonna just have it loop through a couple of these, and it'll be a good time. So now that we have this new web page set up, actually let's just go to that real quick. So now that we have this new web page set up, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just take a screenshot of this because we already have most of the stock data. Maybe you're interested in like just grabbing the graph or something, which is super cool. You can automate that as well. So I'm going to go back to the WinAutomation process designer. And I'm going to go to this web recorder once again, and we're going to use the same browser that we're already using to take a screenshot. So it's like, oh, this is a pre-existing instance, and it's like, yeah, it is, which is cool. And what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the web page. Come on, right click on the web page. Yeah, let's just grab this whole section, and we'll just screenshot this web page element. So it saved that as an image, and that's all we really need to do. So do that, we've already navigated to that new web page, so it's just going to take a screenshot, and it's going to store that screenshot on my desktop, which is fine for now. So I'll call that good. Well, that's fine. Actually, no, let's store it to a place that has a little bit more room to work with. So let's just go to stock pictures. Boom. And we're not going to want to really call it this, I don't think. Maybe there'll be some better variables in here that I can use. So stock data, how about... no, that's fine. But we do need to make sure that it's not going to cause any conflicts. So I'm going to actually just call it increment. So that's good enough. And actually just, let's just call it stock photo URL. So stock photo URL with the increment, and we should just run that just to see if it takes a photo. And then we could start to loop through a couple of them. And I think that will be a pretty good example of capturing stock data. So what it's doing is getting all that. And then it should take a photo, but it looks like it broke. It doesn't really, I mean, maybe it didn't. We'll have to see. So it got all this, which is good. Cool, so it got that data. We just got to go back to this. It says it took it. All right, dope. So let's go to my Chatworks streaming. I think I dropped it in here. Yeah, stock pictures. Did it take a picture? That does not look like the picture. Does not look like it took a picture. All right. Well, did not take that picture, did you? Yeah, let's just, you know what? So the element did not want to work, but let's just capture the entire web page. Maybe that'll work. I think that's going to work. So let's try that one more time. So fair warning, I guess, if you're using the capture element, it might not work perfectly. Because I just wanted to capture that little section, which is kind of cool. Maybe the snapshot feature is not working. Maybe it's not having a good time. You need hope. Okay. Let's go to our stock pictures to take a photo. Oh, it did. Cool, that's awesome. So it did take a photo of everything that we wanted on that web page. And more, actually. Scrolled down, made sure it got everything. I think it got everything. So yeah, it did get everything. That's awesome. That's super cool. So I wonder if we can now go back and start looping through. I will be honest, I was a little worried. I was a little frightened that maybe it would not work, but it looks like it was able to take a photo, which is fantastic. That's super cool. So since that worked, we're gonna want to come back to this web processor, the process designer, and start incrementing this variable. And now that I think about it, I don't really feel like going like super hard on taking all the photos. So I'm just gonna show 10, and I don't think you guys want to sit through 84 of them either. So I want to see kind of how fast this goes, and I think 10 will just be great to demonstrate grabbing all the data, and then taking some photos, storing that to your desktop. You can also store it to like a OneDrive or something, which would be kind of cool. And then I'm going to schedule this out. So we could run this every hour. We could run it every 5 minutes. So essentially you have a fully built like stock monitoring process plus gathering like social data. If you really wanted to, you could like read the news articles and stuff, use more OCR technology to like know what's correlating, what news articles are correlating to the stock price, maybe. I don't know. So let's just increment. So let's go to variable. Increment variable by, so get that variable name, which I think it's called increment. Yeah, increase by 1. Increment. Cool. So variable name and increment. So technically that should work. And what it's going to do is it's going to start at 1. It's going to loop through that increment row wise inside of that Excel spreadsheet to grab the stock web page URL. It's going to navigate to that web page URL. It's going to take a snapshot, and it's going to increase the increment variable by 1. And it's going to do that until this isn't true anymore. And it's going to end itself, which is great. So the only thing that I'm worried about is that this increment thing's not going to work, but it looks like it's going to now because it just fixed itself. So let's start running that, see if it works. Cool, we maximized. Excel data should open up. It did. Okay, we loop through. Take a photo. Oh, sweet. Oh, so cool. Take a photo. Yeah, move on to the next one. Ah, brilliant. See, I don't need to currently monitor stock data at the moment, but man, this is a super cool use case for like gathering just like all the information on the website, as well as the stock, the strict numbers as well. So I believe we're on number 5, AT&T. It's going to take a picture of all this too. Yeah, keep it going. Guess it's time to take a sip of coffee. Pretty cool. I mean, the last thing in my goal of this process would be to schedule it. So we've currently gone through the whole process of building the data extraction from investing.com, put that into an Excel spreadsheet, captured some photos, and now we're gonna schedule it. It looks like this is the data that I got. Let's just get one last granular look at it. So yeah, I got all that data. And like I said, you can schedule this, which we will. It should have gotten all the photos. So let's go to stock photos. I think it did. Cool. So that is M3, that's ABOT, Accenture. Yeah, is it Accenture? Yeah, Accenture. Cool. So we got all the stock photos. It stopped on Baxter stock prices. And we could set it up to increment through all of the rows. So essentially, I'll show you how to do that. Essentially, you set it to go from increment all the way to first free row. So essentially what we did up here is we counted how many rows are in that stock spreadsheet. And this will increment now to the last free row, which would essentially get pictures of all the data. But that's not my goal. My goal is just to show you guys how to do it. So I just went and did 10, which is pretty cool to me. So I'm going to save that process. Now we have a get stock data process. I'm going to close out the process designer, and I'm going to come back to the WinAutomation console, and we're going to go to the scheduler, click new, recurring schedule. This grabs stock data, and we're just going to fire that, every 10 minutes starting. Let's start it next Monday. At 8. No, actually the stock market doesn't open up at 8 around here, so let's just make it at around 7 o'clock a.m. And yeah, now we're good to go. And we just need to make sure we're doing the right process. And now this is all set up and good to go. Every single 10 minutes, starting on Monday, this process would run for me. And you can see that it's now set up as a trigger. And this is now going to run every 10 minutes. So if you were interested in setting up a stock extraction process, now you have a pretty basic way to do that, as well as some tools to point you in the right direction if you ever run into issues on what actions you need to use. So thanks for watching, and until next time.